There's a kid in every classroom who finishes the test first, gets the highest score. Everyone assumes he'll run the world one day. 20 years later, he's stuck in the same job, the same apartment, wondering why people less smart than him are living the life he was promised. This isn't a rare story. It's one of the most common patterns in human behavior, and almost nobody talks about why it happens. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Intelligence was never the thing that was supposed to save you. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see your own life a little differently. Let's start with a question. If intelligence guaranteed success, wouldn't every genius be rich, happy, and fulfilled? But they're not. In fact, psychologists have found something strange. Past a certain point, more intelligence doesn't predict more success. It predicts something else entirely. Overthinking. See, a highly intelligent brain doesn't just solve problems, it creates them. It sees 50 ways a plan could fail before it even starts. It sees every flaw, every risk, every what if. And a brain that sees 50 ways to fail rarely takes the first step. This is called analysis paralysis, and it's the first hidden trap smart people fall into. But it gets deeper than that, because there's a second trap, one that's even more dangerous, and almost no one sees it coming. It's called identity protection. Here's how it works. From a young age, being the smart one becomes part of who you are. Teachers praise it, parents brag about it, it becomes your whole identity. But identity is fragile, and the moment your sense of self is built around being smart, something strange happens in your brain. You stop taking risks that could prove you wrong. Because if you try something new and you fail, it doesn't just mean you failed at a task. It means the smart one was wrong. And that feels unbearable. So what does the brain do to protect itself? It avoids the risk entirely. It stays in familiar territory. It picks safe, easy wins instead of real growth. This is why so many intelligent people quietly stop trying new things in their 20s and 30s. Not because they lack ability, but because failure threatens the identity they built their whole life on. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. There's a third factor, and this one explains why smart people often struggle socially, professionally, even in relationships. It's called the curse of certainty. When you're used to being right, your brain builds a habit. It starts to believe its own thoughts are facts. So when someone challenges your idea, gives you feedback, or suggests a different way of doing things, a highly intelligent brain doesn't hear an opinion. It hears an attack. And this is where careers stall, relationships break, opportunities disappear, because the world doesn't reward the person who's right the most, it rewards the person who can adapt the fastest. Let's slow down here for a second, because this next part is the piece nobody tells you. Success isn't built on how much you know, it's built on how fast you're willing to update what you know. Psychologists call this cognitive flexibility, and it might be the single biggest predictor of long-term success. More than IQ, more than talent, more than raw intelligence. Think about it like this. Imagine two people start a business on the same day. One of them is brilliant, top of his class. He has the perfect plan mapped out in his head before he even begins. The other person isn't nearly as sharp, but she does something different. She starts messy. She makes mistakes. She gets feedback, adjusts, and tries again, over and over. 6 months later, guess who's still stuck at the planning stage? And guess who has actual customers? The smart one is still perfecting his strategy. The other one already failed 20 times and learned 20 lessons nobody can take away from her. This is the pattern behind almost every quiet failure of highly intelligent people. They wait for certainty, but certainty never comes. Life doesn't hand out guarantees, it hands out feedback. And the only way to get that feedback is to move before you feel ready. Now here's something that might sting a little. If you're someone who's always been called the smart one, this video might be describing you right now. Maybe you've spent years thinking, planning, preparing, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself before you finally act. But that moment never comes. Because the brain that's smart enough to see every risk is also smart enough to invent an infinite number of reasons to wait. So let's flip the story. What actually separates people who succeed from people who stay stuck isn't intelligence. It's their relationship with being wrong. The most successful people you know aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who make mistakes faster than everyone else and recover from them just as fast. They've built an identity around growth, not around being right. And that single shift changes everything. Because once you stop protecting the idea of being smart and start protecting your ability to adapt, you unlock the one thing intelligence alone can never give you: momentum. So if you've ever felt like the smartest person in the room who somehow still feels behind in life, it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because you were taught to value being right when you should have been taught to value moving forward. Intelligence gets you the map, but only action gets you the destination. And maybe the real question isn't, why do smart people fail at life? Maybe it's this: how much of your own life have you postponed, waiting to feel smart enough to finally begin? If this video changed the way you see yourself, that's the whole point of Zen Mind. New psychology videos every week, the hidden truths nobody tells you. Like this video, subscribe to Zen Mind, and tell me in the comments, have you ever felt smart but still stuck? See you in the next one.